All right, let's talk about some football, Puma. The
Yes.
never-ending saga of Lamar Jackson is continuing, and here's the latest and greatest with that. Over the weekend, a report came out saying that Lamar Jackson is basically done with the Baltimore Ravens. He does not want to go back. And then also another tidbit of news came out that Lamar Jackson has now finally went out there and hired somebody to basically be his go-between him and teams. Problem is, this person he's hired is unverified, basically has no credentials, and is not recognized by the union or the NFLPA to be able to negotiate on his behalf. So, kind of an interesting dynamic happening in Baltimore right now. Everything that I'm seeing, from afar, it seems like this thing is going off the rails quickly, and not just on the Baltimore Ravens side, but now also on Lamar Jackson side as well. Some pretty erratic behavior, some pretty erratic decisions on Lamar Jackson's part. So, the question I want to ask you, Puma, is it really done between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? Because I feel like it's about to get there.
I think we're already there, Jay. And here's the thing, this is kind of the benefit of having an agent, right? Is the agent is negotiating on your behalf because the team may love you, right? Like Steve Bisciotti, Harbaugh, they love Lamar Jackson, but when it comes time to paying up the money for a contract, they are going to ding you on any opportunity that they can get to not give you the highest value of a contract. And that's just a fact of business. And at least with the agent, it's more so business and it's not personal. When you're Lamar Jackson or hell, like Bobby Wagner, that's another player that negotiates for himself because he doesn't have an agent. When you are in that room facing down Steve Bisciotti and the general manager and Harbaugh, and they're dinging you on not winning, going far in the playoffs, you haven't played a full season the last 2 years, XYZ. There's also been reports coming out that, he might not be the most on-time person to meetings. He might not be the most on-time person going,
Wow.
to the team playing when they're going on the road. So if they're bringing that up in negotiations and you're Lamar Jackson, you are definitely going to feel a certain type of way about that. So that's why the agent is, in my opinion, so important in these negotiations. Yes, you're going to be paying out the agent a portion of your contract for whatever's negotiated. But the other aspect of things is it's literally the definition of business, not personal. In this case, it's personal for all parties involved. And you can just go to Lamar Jackson's Twitter page the last, 72 to 96 hours where, he's putting out there not screenshots, but memes or gifs. And I think today the one was, every time I go on Twitter, I see this, and it's a guy with mud on his face, just, implying he's getting dragged through the mud. He was quote tweeting Adam Schefter a couple of days ago about contract details. And it's just, when you start airing it out on social media, in my opinion, that's where you start losing the negotiation part, especially if, you're one of those teams that may or may not be interested in Lamar. Let's say it's the New York Jets per se, right? Just for argument's sake, let's say the Jets are interested in this and you're seeing this play out on social media. Do you really want to sign him to a contract like that? The Jets on a football X's and O's would greatly benefit from having a Lamar Jackson on that team. But when it comes to negotiations and pay, and you might hear these rumblings in the background about him inside the building in Baltimore, it's not going to help your cause. So I think having an agent that is verified and not me going in these negotiations.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's so funny you bring that up because I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear the fact that, now we're starting to hear these little details coming out about Lamar Jackson's, timeliness. But I guess it makes sense. I guess when you're negotiating and it's not going your way, then you're going to start hearing these things come out from the Raven side of things to make him look bad in the public perception. And I think that's interesting that it's coming out now because that also probably lays the groundwork for the Ravens to move on from it and then basically tell the fan base, hey, listen, he wasn't a good quarterback anyways. He was basically late all the time, blah, blah, blah. So it's starting to go off the rails quickly. Now, the one thing I'm really intrigued by is the fact that we've heard no buzz between Lamar Jackson and another team. Now, we've heard speculation, Colts are in it, Falcons are in it, Patriots, blah, blah, blah. But no definitive Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport kind of tweets saying, hey, listen, this team's kind of in on it. They've negotiated with him. They're talking to him, blah, blah. One or two things could be happening there. Either, a lot of times these leaks come from agents, right? A lot of times the agents leak the stuff to the media to get a narrative out there. So maybe the fact that there is no agent is probably why we haven't heard. Or the second more scary part of this is nobody wants Lamar Jackson.
Or
And
it's
it's
the
hard
third
for me to
one.
believe that. Or wait till after the draft. Is that a third one?
No, the third one's the C word. Collusion.
Oh, the C word. Wrong C word, but still.
Yes. In the NFL landscape, the C word is collusion is like the forbidden word in the
Yeah.
NFL because that
Well, let me
has
ask you a question about
massive
that. Let me ask you a question about
ramifications.
that. Let me ask you a question about the whole collusion thing because the way you say collusion, you make it seem like there's some devious, evil master plan by the owners that like sat down and kind of like hashed this out and they're like, all right, listen, you can't do this. I don't think that happened. I truly believe this is just the NFL owners knowing where this is going and deep down
Mhm.
realizing we probably shouldn't be making this. It's a feeling. It's not more of a collusion thing. It's more of a feeling they have about where this market's going and how they're going to suppress it. And I don't think that's collusion. I just think that's just sound business on their part.
Right. I mean, I think in the letter of the law, it becomes collusion if there's ever like communication
Yeah, it's like
established
emails or something
between
like that,
like
right? Yeah.
Bisciotti to Jerry Jones to the Woody Johnson to to the Spanos out in Los Angeles. Like when you have stuff like that where you could prove that there's collusion. In this case, in point, let's just assume everyone's just operating independently and they are
Mhm.
reading the room. And we've been banging this drum, Jay, literally since Deshaun Watson signed that contract. Is the NFL owners are pissed at the Haslam family for doing
Mhm.
what they did, and they're going to go back to square one and reset the market the way that contracts have always played out, where it's never going to be fully guaranteed because of the hoops that they have to jump through to make money liquid for escrow and all that nonsense. And essentially, it would be pieces of the pie that they're not going to be getting anymore. So I'm with you on that. I don't think it's collusion. I just think it's everyone has just read the room and they just don't want to start giving out fully guaranteed contracts. And also, Jay, like, you have a guy, great talent. I'm not taking anything away from Lamar. He's probably one of the best talents I've seen in my lifetime.
Mhm.
And it's great time of football when you can say that for Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. I'm not questioning his talent. What I am questioning is, are teams really going to part ways with 2 first-round draft picks, mortgage their future for a guy who has not, one, made it deep into the playoffs, and two, and more importantly, has not played a full season the last 2 years. And
Mhm.
third, just the optics of things, he probably could have come back last year
Yeah, he
and he
probably could have
chose not
not to.
to. And that
Yeah,
last game against the Bengals, he
they
didn't
could have
even
won that.
go on the road trip.
Mhm.
He stayed home.
Yep.
So to me, that's the optics of that is another big issue that the teams are probably having as well too.
Yeah,